Today, we're going to dive into something really fascinating. It's a sort of literary what-if, a fictional manuscript of what could have been Allen Ginsberg's final poems. It's called American Bardo, and it's this imagined last look from the great beat poet at his country, his own body, and his entire life's work. Everything, and I mean everything in this manuscript, hangs on this one single haunting line. It's like Ginsberg, the old prophet, is leaning in to whisper a huge secret to us. But what on earth does he mean by Bardo?
So Ginsberg takes this idea from Tibetan Buddhism and does something really powerful with it. For him, Bardo isn't just some spiritual waiting room after you die. No, it's a state of being for an entire country. He actually writes, America is lying on a slab in the funeral home of history and nobody has decided yet whether to cremate or resuscitate. Wow, it's that profound uncertainty for himself and for the country that just fills this entire collection.
Okay, so let's start there, with his diagnosis of the country. This republic in Bardo. This is Ginsberg the prophet, taking America's temperature one last time.
And he does not pull any punches. This is Ginsberg at his most direct, his most raw. He's looking at a nation that he thinks has totally lost its way, a country that started to mistake cruelty for strength. And that mention of prisons, that's so crucial. He sees mass incarceration as the #1 symptom of a nation that calls itself the land of the free, but has become, in his words, home of the imprisoned.
But then, right when you think he's completely given up, he does this. He shows you where he still finds hope. And this just perfectly shows his complicated, deep love for the country. See, for Ginsberg, the real America isn't in the halls of power. It's in the quiet, everyday holiness of its people. The ones who sing when they think nobody is even listening. That's the real republic to him.
And this theme of Bardo, this in-between state, it moves from the huge scale of the nation right down to something intensely personal. Just like the Republic, the poet's own body is in Bardo. He calls it the body's report card, like a final accounting of a life lived really, really hard.
This slide just lays out the stark reality of getting old. Ginsberg isn't just being nostalgic here. He's taking inventory. You see the contrast between the electric energy of his youth, cruising with Kerouac and Cassidy, and the simple frailties of his 70-year-old body. But look at that last line. The hunger is still there, right? It's just different. It's gentler, more appreciative. He knows the restaurant is closing, but you bet he's going to order dessert anyway.
He just catalogs all these little indignities of aging with so much wit and honesty. I mean, I love that line about sleep being a civil war between the bladder and the brain. It's hilarious, it's so relatable, but underneath it there's this profound truth about the body starting to fight itself. And yet, through it all, look at that last point, desire. It's still there, persistent, absurd, and, as he says, beautiful.
So all of this brings up a huge question. If you're faced with a nation that's decaying and a body that's failing, what's the point of making art? What is a poet's final job?
The manuscript just keeps asking this question over and over, and it's not just for show. Ginsberg is genuinely wrestling with it. What can a few words on a page possibly do against the massive weight of history and death? But he does find an answer.
He boils down the poet's work to these 3 essential things. First, pay attention, like really see the world, from a tiny flower growing in a sidewalk crack to that janitor singing in the hallway. Second, speak the unsayable. Say the thing that everybody's thinking but is too afraid to say out loud. And third, build a bridge, a connection from your mind to someone else's.
This, for me, this is the absolute heart of the entire manuscript. It's not about success. It's not about being understood or even heard. It's about the act itself. The reaching out is the poem. That simple, hopeful, necessary act of just extending a hand into the dark.
So the final section of the manuscript is structured as a journey through these 7 Bardo gates, which is a path toward, letting go. This is where the poet starts to release everything.
As he goes through these last stages, he arrives at a gate that might just be the hardest one of all, forgiveness.
The way he flips the script here is it's profound. He forgives everyone. The doctors who lobotomized his mother, the FBI agents who spied on him, even America itself. But he's not doing it for them. He's doing it for himself. He describes it as finally putting down this heavy suitcase of grievances he's been dragging around for 70 years. It's a moment of total self-liberation.
And after letting go of all that weight, all that baggage, he finds this moment of incredible peace, a moment he calls 10 seconds of enough.
He describes waking up one morning, and for just 10 seconds, that's it, 10,
He isn't Allen Ginsberg. He's not a poet, not a beat icon, not a controversy. He's just a body in a bed, with sunlight coming through the window. And in that tiny moment, he realizes that's enough. He says all the poems, every single howl, and every sutra were all just a really long way to get back to those 10 seconds of simple, unburdened being.
And this is how the whole thing ends. In a final little notebook entry, he boils his entire life, and really any life, down to this simple, humble, and incredibly powerful statement. It's not some grand manifesto, it's just a quiet testament to the act of witnessing. I was here, I saw it, I tried.
And that brings us to the manuscript's final lingering idea. In one of his last song fragments, he asks, how did he keep singing with the darkness coming down? And then he gives the answer. The singing is the how. It's not a solution, it's a practice. It suggests that in a falling world, the response isn't to find an answer, but to create, to connect, to sing. Because that act, in and of itself, is the only answer there ever is.